Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride. Happy New Year. Let's remember the rules of the new year. You get 1 week, and within that 1 week, the first time you see someone, you can say Happy New Year. After that 1 week, it's over. These are the rules. I didn't make them. But either way, Happy New Year to you. So Saquon ain't playing. Does my heart hurt a little bit? Yeah. The other day I explained to you my prediction was that he is not going to play. I also explained to you that my desire was that he would play. So I don't get what I want. A lot of us don't get what we want. But the Eagles ultimately make the best possible decision for the team, even though history is right there for the taking. A man that has done it all over the last couple of weeks, especially with, you can't average 131 yards per game. That would be insane. And now, just for poops and giggles, I went ahead and I looked at the projected number for Saquon Barkley, and he, of course, would have broken that record by 30 yards. Oh, my goodness gracious. If he just would have had his average in this game against the Giants, but it's not meant to be. Sure, you could go back and you can look at the game previously against the Giants where you said, oh, you know what, let's let the young guys eat. He even talked about that yesterday. Other games this season where he could have gone longer. Ultimately, what it comes down to for me is if you have to do something extra for the record, then it feels a little tainted. If you're a person that believes in karma, it could feel like that's bad karma that you're putting out there into the world. And I don't even mean that, he would have a 17th game or anything like that, or even Eric Dickerson 2 more games than O.J. Simpson. Right? By the way, how weird is it that we've been talking about O.J. Simpson it's only in sports over the last week? Like that's a rarity. But anyway, you talk about Saquon Barkley. He would have had to force the issue. I don't like forcing the issue to get records. It kind of not in the same stadium, but not the same section by any means. But it's like kind of like Strahan laying down, or excuse me, Favre laying down for Strahan. And I know that's become very popular to talk about again all of a sudden. But for me, if you have to stretch it to break a record, then I don't know. That's putting some bad vibe into the universe. That's the way I do look at it. I still wanted the Eagles to do it because why not get greedy? We'll let you hear from Nick Sirianni on everything he had to say about Saquon. We'll let you hear from Saquon about everything he had to say to Nick Sirianni. Great conversation. Saquon continues to be a model citizen, a great teammate, and all that. And the big story, by the way, I know everyone wanted to know what was happening with Saquon, but I think any betting person would have bet on the idea that he wasn't playing, would have bet on the fact that he wasn't going to play. But for me, the lead story is that Jalen Hurts is still in concussion protocol. What's going on? This is the Jalen Hurts concussion issue. By issue, I specifically mean the last 2 weeks here. Jalen Hurts gets hit, gets up, gives the thumbs up, which of course is not good enough, gets escorted off the field, goes to the medical tent, comes out, puts his helmet on, and then gets taken back to the facility where we're not hearing anything, taken back to the locker room, where we're not hearing anything for an extended period. Like, I don't think it usually takes very long to administer a concussion test. I guess the initial one he passed or thought he passed, and he goes out and tries to go back out on the field, puts his helmet on, and then goes back. And then we finally hear during the game that he's not going to return. Last week, he's in concussion protocol, doesn't practice, don't even think he was at the facility. And then this week, still in concussion protocol. I know there's another practice today. I guess we'll find out something to see if he even goes through anything. But I'd at least like to hear that, he's out. Like, I'd like to hear that, if we weren't resting starters, Jalen Hurts would be playing. That's what I'd like to hear. The fact that we haven't heard anything encouraging is a little scary. because I don't want to be going into the playoffs with even Tanner McKee. I don't want to go with Kenny Pickett. I don't want to go with Tanner McKee. I don't want to go with Ian Book. I don't want to go on option passes like I'm watching Arizona State yesterday. Good God, what a game that was. I don't want to be watching that. I want to see Jalen Hurts out there playing quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles when they take on the Packers or they take on the Washington Commanders. That's what I want to see. And the fact that he's still in concussion protocol is a little scary. Then on a more positive note, this Eagles team, man, I just really love this team. And however this year is going to end, and I really hope that it's obviously after a Super Bowl victory and a parade down Broad Street and all that great stuff. But, man, they always say, and it's because it's true, that you're never the same team twice. The last game of the season, when everyone leaves that locker room, you're never the same. Never all the same guys are back in that room. It never happens. Something's always different. And I know that last year you went from a big transition of leadership from Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelsey now to this team with, yes, Brandon Graham still being around, but a lot of other guys trying to step up in more of a leadership role. Jalen Carter got referred to as a leader, and you've probably seen the footage of him on the sidelines talking to his fellow defensive players, revving them up, getting them going, talking about a second-year player who had to overcome immaturity issues, to put it lightly, has taken on a leadership role with this team. And even a couple weeks ago, when a reporter said, as a leader on this team, how do you guys approach this? And he's like, wow, a leader. How about that? Like, even he was taken back by it. But a lot of guys on this team just, I know it could be looked at as, a used car salesman or whatever. But every time Nick Sirianni talks about the guys they have in the locker room and how special it is, Darius Slay talks about the same thing. Lane Johnson references it. Cam Jurgens, A.J. Brown even, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. All these guys talk about how much they're rooting for one another. Kenny Pickett getting into the conversation the other day after the win about how this is like a college atmosphere here where like everyone's really pulling for each other. It's an incredible thing, and I'm going to miss this team when it's over. But, man, going into the last game of the regular season, going into the playoffs, I'm going to enjoy the ride because I think it's going to be a very deep ride for this Philadelphia Eagles team. And now back to the negative. The only thing that makes me feel like it couldn't be is the idea of Jalen Hurts not playing. So, all right, we'll get into that. Now, while you were probably sleeping last night, the 76ers decided around, they were playing some pretty good basketball up until about 12:15 in the a.m. And then they decided to suck at basketball. They led by 8 points, I believe it was, maybe 9. 107 to 98, yeah. 9 points. They led by 9 points with about 3:30 left in the game. Tyrese Maxey makes a layup. A little jumper, whatever. Makes a shot, okay. They're up 9 points. The 3:34 mark of the fourth quarter, he does that. The Sixers did not score ever again in the basketball game. Now, you might think, oh, well, they certainly got to the free throw line and made a free throw. You mean field goals. They didn't make a basket. No. They didn't score a point for the final 3 minutes and 34 seconds of that game. However, in that same time frame, they managed to have 5 turnovers. And in fact, you want to wake up with a fun stat? Here you go. The 76ers made 7 field goals throughout the fourth quarter up until that 3:34 mark. The Sixers made 7 field goals. Okay. They turned the ball over 9 times. They had more turnovers than made field goals in the fourth quarter against the Sacramento Kings. Also, what was really fun is, like Nick Nurse, I feel bad for a coach like that doesn't know if he's going to have Embiid. He doesn't know he's going to have Embiid. He doesn't have Tyrese Maxey for a while. Paul George misses time. All of a sudden, Jared McCain, he comes out of a cannon, playing great, looking like he's going to be the rookie of the year. Then, nope, not so fast. He's not going to be around. He's got a knee injury that he got to get surgery for. So it's like I haven't had a lot of opportunity to throw a lot of mud in the face of Nick Nurse. However, oh, man, a big old handful of mud in the face of Nick Nurse last night. I'll tell you this. I don't know why he thought it was a good idea to have Paul George on Domantas Sabonis. I don't get it. That's not a defensive matchup I'd like to see again, ever. So in that run, Sabonis goes for 13 points and 14 rebounds. My thought was, okay, you don't have Joel Embiid going in this game. You're probably going to put Yabu on Sabonis. You did in the second half. And in the third quarter, the Sixers went on a huge run, and I thought they were going to take control of the game, and it was going to be great. And at the end of the first half, the Kings went on a 20-6 run with Paul George playing on Sabonis. And then the second half flipped around a little bit. I was like, oh, there we go. Hey. The only guy that's going to be able to play against Sabonis is a guy that can be a bully on him, and that's not Paul George. Got to put a little meat on him, and that's the dancing bear, as they say. So I don't know what Nick Nurse was thinking. Also, the fact that he couldn't get anything going for his team. Look, I know they weren't making shots, and I know they were making bad decisions, but everyone knows the inbounds play that's coming. And Nick Nurse tried to do it again. It was the same play they ran in the overtime game. It was double overtime against against the San Antonio Spurs last year, and they ran it again in the playoffs. And they ran it again even during that regular season. Things were winding down, where Maxey starts in the backcourt, gets the full head of steam. If I'm watching the game and know the play, and you're watching the game and you probably know the play, then the opponent knows the play. The Kings, in this case, knew the play. So they beat Maxey to the spot. They can't get the ball into it. Ends up going back to Paul George, who tries dribbling through the lane, loses the basketball, cries for the foul. It was a perfect strip. There was no foul. And it goes the other way for 2 points. Maxey also, at the top of the key, gets stripped by DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, that guy. Gets stripped when he goes up to Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin, I think, goes up to the top of the key to set a screen, bringing DeMar DeRozan with him. Maxey tries to dribble through it, loses the ball to DeMar DeRozan, goes down the other end, layup. That was that. So Sixers, that was not fun. That was not fun last night. And if you stayed up for that one, as I did, and hopefully you caught me on postcast as well, if you watch that, then you know that wasn't fun. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But first, let's get to the big news of the day, at least the discussion points of the day. Yesterday, Nick Sirianni made it official about what's going to happen with the starters going up against the Giants in the regular season finale.
We're gonna rest some guys. I know we're locked into that number 2 seed, so we're gonna rest some guys. There are gonna be some guys that are resting. There are gonna be some guys that are in reserve roles. You can't obviously rest everybody with the schedule. With the roster. And so that's our plan moving in here forward.
Is Saquon going to be one of them?
Yeah, he'll probably be somebody that rests.
I like that. I love that Martin Frank had to drag it out of him. So Saquon, you mean? Yeah, you got me. Saquon's going to be one of them. So the reaction to that, it sucks. Like, I get it. I'm not going to go down the angle that many other people do with the fear. I'm afraid. You're afraid of getting hurt. Or you can't play the game afraid. It's like, that's exactly it. He's not playing the game. He's not playing it afraid because he's not playing the game. He's sitting out. He's getting rest. And I get the argument that they had such an early bye week and all that. But the calming thing to me is they're not trying to force an issue by getting the record. And then the other part of it is, okay, do it again next year. Let's be the most Homer fans we could be. All right? Let's do it. Let's do it next year. Now, I went back and I looked at everyone on the list. All the 2,000 rushers, right? No one has done back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons. So let's just get that out of the way. That's the easiest thing right there. The other thing is that not only have they not gotten to 2,000, I don't even think they've gotten to 1,900. Or 1,900, yeah, 1,900. The 1800s is about where they at best get back to within a year or two. That's about where they get to at best, around 1,800 yards. So then I was thinking about it. If this game mattered, Saquon would play in it. And Saquon would most likely get 101 yards. If the Eagles could help their standings, they would obviously play Saquon Barkley. But they can't, so he's not. But there's things that have to go right throughout the entire season. The number one is health, obviously. And the number 2 is just sheer dominance. I can count on this offensive line being great again next year. I can count on Saquon Barkley being great again next year. What you can never count on in the world of football, and this is exactly why Saquon Barkley is not playing in this game, is injury. So the fact that he has gone through this season virtually unscathed, a couple of bumps and bruises along the way, light workloads here and there, is in of itself a miracle. But I have no doubt in my mind that if you go through the mandatory, if he stays healthy, Saquon Barkley behind this offensive line is going to again next year be one of the most dominant forces, if not the most dominant force in the entire NFL. And I've made the comparison before of another guy on that list of 2000, Barry Sanders. My whole childhood was all of Barry Sanders had the Cowboys offensive line. Oh my God, what he could have been. Well, if Saquon was still running for the Giants, if he was still in the backfield of the Giants and you'd be facing him this weekend instead of him sitting on the sidelines with you, if you could get a guy like that behind this offensive line, oh my God. Well, it happened. And what happened immediately? 2,000 yards. Yeah, I hope that this is just a taste of things to come. Now, the other part of it is, and Saquon, we'll let you hear from him in a second about the numbers and all that, about whether or not he goes through games like the previous Giants game where he said, hey, let the other guys eat and all that stuff. He's like, no, because there's other things that I look at throughout the season. Like there's like 15 plays in his mind that he looks at and goes, oh, if I just would have cut this way, or if I wouldn't have got the shoestring tackle there, if this block was there at this time, then that would have happened. So he doesn't look at giving other guys opportunities. He doesn't regret those decisions. He regrets decisions that he's made while running, or just things that didn't fall into place while he was getting the ball out of the backfield. And I love that because that's more of him taking it on himself than it is saying, you know what, I should have been greedy against the Giants and just kept going. If he's going in those games in the fourth quarter and he's already got almost 200 yards or he's got almost 300 yards of total offense like he did against the Rams, if he's still playing those fourth quarters, it's the same as playing in week 18. It's the same thing. Why are you doing this? It's in hand. It's stupid. The only thing is I would say going for history is never stupid. Although, again, it would have forced the issue. So, Nick Sirianni, a little bit more on that. This is what went into the decision to sit Saquon.
Yeah, again, not going to get into all that. I mean, obviously, a lot plays into it. Obviously, it's a very special record that's been standing for a very long time by a great player. It's a team record. It's a team record that everybody's involved in. So you weigh in all those things, but at the end of the day, you just try to do what's best for the team. Again, when the bye was, guys, how guys are feeling, the bumps and bruises we can take care of. We've put ourselves in a position to be able to, let's say, be in this situation. And so, our goals, are to have success, and to have a good, play good the next game we play, not only New York, but whoever we play after that. And so, we think that this plays into that. So it wasn't the easiest decision to go through, but, we have great people in this building and had a lot of input from a lot of different people, players included. Howie and I discussed a bunch, position coaches and coordinators and I discussed a bunch. I discussed with players, and we have just selfless guys.
Selfless guys. They certainly do. By the way, Jeffrey Lurie was in the mix as well. Later in the press conference, I was like, you didn't mention Jeffrey Lurie. Did you talk to Jeffrey Lurie about this? How great would it be if he didn't talk to Jeffrey Lurie about this? Jeffrey Lurie's watching the press conference while having his coconut coffee or whatever. I don't know what rich people drink. And he's just he's not playing. He's not playing. So he talked to Jeffrey Lurie. He talked to the players. Talked to the coaching staff. Like, I would have loved to have known what Jeff Stoutland said. Because, look, with assistant coaches being put into the Hall of Fame nowadays, this is a punch your ticket. Like, I already think he's going to go to the Hall of Fame, but this is a surefire sooner or later he's going to get into the Hall of Fame. You have a 2,000-yard rusher, and you're an offensive line coach and the run game coordinator? Yeah, okay. That's a surefire ticket to Canton. As far as the man that had to get the news, Saquon said he'd be at peace with it no matter what. See what's in the plan, but it's up to Nick. Here's how it went with the conversation between him and Nick Sirianni.
You're not going to play on Sunday.
Yeah, Coach asked me, what I like to do. We had a conversation, and he called me back, let me know that we're probably going to be resting, and my reaction was kind of like I told my family. Obviously, my family, probably wanted a little bit more than me, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is winning football games, and we're in the playoffs, so I got a bigger goal in mind anyway.
What was your message to Nick when you did ask?
He asked me if I wanted to play, if I want to go for it. I said on Sunday, I probably didn't care too much for it. When I slept on it, I was like, there's an opportunity to implant my name in football history. May never get another opportunity like that again. So I'm down, but at the end of the day, I don't care for putting the team at risk. And he's the head coach for a reason. He makes the decisions, and whatever decision he wanted to make, I let him know if you want me to play, I'm going to go out there and make sure I get it. And if we don't, I'm okay with that too.
When he says his family was more disappointed, he later references his dad. And his dad was like, he's like, my dad was the most broken up about it. He got asked point blank, was there anybody in your family in particular that was upset about you not being able to go for the record? He's like, my dad. And I just told him, we'll be fine. Can you imagine having a conversation with your father? Yeah. But that's got to be a rough one. That's certainly got to be a rough one. But he seems to be in great spirits about it. A lot of times if I listen to an athlete speaking about something great that they could accomplish individually, and it's not just an individual award. I know his name gets put up there, and it's not like it's Saquon Barkley with Lane Johnson, Atlanta Dickerson, and Jordan Mailata, and a guy who's playing center for the first time in the NFL in Cam Jurgens. It's not like he's going up there and their names are going to be next to him and, the Canton or anything like that, but it's a team award from Jeff Stoutland to, Fred Johnson, even like all these guys, Tyler Steen, trying to think of down the end of the bench. It's a team award. It's not just him, but the team, especially Lane Johnson, who we have listened to twice now, stand in his locker and be like, yeah, we're good with 2,000. When I heard that, I went, nah, there's a smoking gun. If Lane Johnson's saying it, he ain't playing in this final game of the season. But he seems to be in good spirits. And a lot of times when I listen to athletes talk about their records or things that they're on the doorstep of, I'll be listening and they'll be saying all the right things. And I'm like, don't believe you. I believe Saquon Barkley. Because let's put it like this. He's already put the Giants over his knee by signing with the Eagles. Then he continued the spanking by putting up a near career high against them in his first regular season meeting against the Giants. He doesn't need to do it again. And yeah, he was asked about potentially setting the record against his former team and whether or not that'd be a little extra special. And very thoughtful answer. He said, yeah, it would be extra special, but not for the reason that a lot of people want to think it is. It's not for spite. Like, oh, yeah, screw you. I just set the record against you. You didn't even want me back when you signed Daniel Jones over me, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't for that. It was like, I have a lot of friends over there on the Giants, and to set the record against them, it would be great to have them in the building. In particular, he wasn't even talking about players. He was talking about like the training staff and the coaches. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that was an extremely classy thing to say. As far as disappointment, how he feels about it, this is what Saquon had to say about his emotion surrounding not playing.
Characterize your emotion right now. Is there some semblance of disappointment?
No, it's not disappointment. Like at the end of the day, I'll have a time, don't have time yet, but to be able to reflect on the season. And I've done a lot of great things so far this year. And I always hold myself, to a standard. I can go back and pick 15 or 20 plays that if I would have done this or made this guy miss, that record would have been broken pretty easy. So it's no disappointment. I'm blessed to even be in position to even have an opportunity to do that. Like I said, it's not in God's plan. So, but what is in God's plans is the opportunity to get ready for the playoffs. And give myself not only myself but all the starters a little break so we can get in the playoffs healthy and go for a run.
Yeah, one of the things I really have learned about Saquon Barkley over this whole historic run is how much he loves history. Like, he's talking about Eric Dickerson breaking the record with 2 more games and more carries, and how O.J. Simpson, when he set the record, had fewer carries and 2 fewer games and averaged over 6 yards per carry. Talked about Barry Sanders doing it in, I think, fewer carries than anybody, if I'm not mistaken, because he was over 6 yards per carry as well. And he's going through the whole thing, and it's wildly impressive. And he's talked about just breaking the Eagles franchise record. He's talking about Wilbert Montgomery. Am I saying that right? Remember that? And then he talked about, obviously, the Sean McCoy. But this guy really appreciates those that have come before him, and I love that. I'm a sucker for that. I mean, that's fantastic when you try to understand where you're coming from and understand the significance of the record, both in a franchise and in the grand scheme of things in the NFL. That's pretty special. But as far as not being disappointed, yeah, he might be at peace with it. But I think when he's going through the season in his head, he's thinking about, man, what if I did get one more run? What if I did get one more run? And that's what everyone's going to focus on. And what if against the Steelers, it wasn't such a pass-happy game, right? What if he had more than 65 yards? What if he had more than 66 yards in the first meeting against the Cowboys? 47 yards against the Browns? What are we doing? I love how we all talk about that Cleveland Browns game like that was when the run really started for the Eagles. Like, they came out of the bye week and they were going to run the football. That was a meeting. They were going to run the football. My man had 18 carries in that game for 47 yards. Then you look at the other games like the Giants, I mentioned, the 176 that he put up there where he didn't play in the fourth quarter. You can also talk about the Dallas game where the Eagles were up 34-6. You have guys sit out those fourth quarters and how important that was going into the Washington game. After that, that's one thing actually Nick Sirianni got into in his press conference as well, talking about how much that mattered. Like, fourth quarters off for quick turnarounds, like that Washington game Thursday night when they didn't play in the fourth quarter on Sunday against the Cowboys on the road. They were able to come home on Thursday and then take it to the up until the fourth quarter, be able to beat the Commanders in that. So, yeah, you can look at the season and say, oh, yeah, this, that, and the other is about one more run here, one more run there. Well, what if he didn't have a 150-yard game against the Commanders on the 22nd of December? What if he didn't have 255 yards rushing against the Rams? What if he didn't come out with a 70-yard run? I mean, when I think back on this season with Saquon Barkley, the game that really jumps out to me, the numbers that really jump out to me are it's the first Washington game, because in total he put up 146 yards. He scored 2 touchdowns and ran for, I believe it was 60 yards in 20 seconds, because he had the big run and a touchdown. That was immediately followed by a Reed Blankenship interception. Ball goes back to the Eagles. I think it was the first play, back in Saquon's hands, touchdown. That's pretty special. Obviously, you think of the Rams game, two 70-yard runs in that game. Oh, yeah, that'll help put you on track for a record. And he said it was after that Rams game on the 24th of November where he said, maybe I could break this record. We all think about that. We think about the big plays that could have been bigger. We think about the good games that could have been great games. But what you don't think about is, wow, the fact that he had 255 yards on the ground against the Rams, that's pretty special. You always think about what could have been more. You don't think about, oh, man, what if he only had 100 yards against the Rams? You know, you don't ever go the other way. And the other thing, again, is these are 17 games we're talking about. Excuse me. Yeah, 17 games. 16 games we're talking about. 17 would have put him over the mark. Not happening. And then finally, what this break means. Because, again, you're talking about this Eagles team that's been playing full bore since October 13th. What's the break do for everybody else? And there's one little nugget in here from Saquon Barkley that I absolutely love. Listen to
season. How much is that break important right now?
I think it's important because, we haven't had a bye since week 4 or week 5. So we've been going at it since then. Won 10 in a row, lost one and won another one. So it's like I think the rest definitely is going to help rather than hurt us. But me personally, I feel great. If I had to go out there and get the record, I felt really good enough to do it too. But yeah, I made a joke to one of my boys the other night that my body don't feel like I ran for 2,000 yards. So that's a good thing, and got to give a shout out to all the people that helped me feel like that also.
So 345 carries, 33 receptions this year, 378 touches for Saquon Barkley in the regular season. My body doesn't feel like my body doesn't feel like I've run for 2,000 yards. Well, that's good. I hope it also doesn't feel like you've had 378 touches this year. 345 carries, 33 receptions. I also hope your body doesn't feel like that. Get the break, get the rest. I love the idea that he says, I feel great. Basically, I feel great. I don't ever expect an athlete to be like, oh, man, what a long season. Oh, God, I still got the playoffs. Hey, I wanted to get greedy. I did get greedy. I'm still greedy. But unfortunately, I guess we'll have to settle for a healthy roster, or at least as healthy as it can be, going into the postseason. Packers or Commanders. Either game, I think the Eagles win. Jameer Alexander, done. If he could come back at all, it would be the Super Bowl. So he's done until the Packers, if they make the Super Bowl, which I don't think they're doing, especially if they have to come through Philadelphia. And the Commanders, which team do I want more? I want the Commanders. Losing to them was complete horse you-know-what. That drove me absolutely crazy. And I know they still put up 33 points in that game, but Jalen Hurts plays in that game more than 11 snaps. You win that game. There's no way in the fourth quarter the Eagles are surrendering the way they did and giving the ball so often to the Washington Commanders offense. There's no way they don't have another 10-minute drive in them to close out that game. No way. And then we're still talking about potentially playing for the number 1 seed in the NFC. But I want that Commanders game. I want Jaden Daniels against Vic Fangio in the postseason. I want that game elevating. And I got all the respect in the world for Jaden Daniels, but it's a different animal, as everyone knows, in the postseason. So between the two, I want to see the Commanders. And also, I would love to knock him down a peg in the postseason, going into the offseason, be like, hey, great rookie year, probably offensive rookie of the year. But you still got to beat the Eagles in the postseason. The road to the Super Bowl still goes through Philadelphia if you're in the NFC East. So if I have a choice between the two, let me know what you guys think in the comments if you want the Packers or if you want the Commanders. Either way, I have the Eagles winning against either team. But I kind of want to knock the Commanders down a peg. And I want to see Zach Ertz and Nick Sirianni shake hands again. How about that? Of all the stories. Anyway, here's my reaction to that story from last week. Ugh. Thank you. Also, this was me over the holiday. Thank you. Never going to stop using it. Hey, before I get to the chat check here, folks. Last night's Sixers game, no Joel Embiid. Paul George is playing great basketball. Do I have it here? I have it here. Here's your box score from last night's game. Just the Sixers stats, okay? Paul George, 30 points. Tyrese Maxey, 27 points. Nobody else wants to score in the starting five? Okay, Caleb Martin, hey, 2 for 4 from beyond the arc. 12 points. Nice to see you. Get 24 points off the bench combined from Andre Drummond, who played last night after the toe contusion. And Eric Gordon, 14 points. Continues to shoot rather well. Not so much in the second half, but rather well. He goes into the game. He's got 8 points in 6 minutes. Way to be there, Eric Gordon. However, despite the fact that this box score kind of looks a little sexy, everyone on this list here, everyone in this box score, every name, choked in the final 4 minutes of the game. Absolutely 100% choked. And if you look at that box score, you say, oh, Paul George, 30 points. Wow, still shooting well without Joel Embiid. That's great. Tyrese Maxey. Another game with three-pointers. Way to be. And then you watch the final 4 minutes. And in that fourth quarter, I'll give the stat to you again for those just joining us. The Sixers had 9 turnovers in the fourth quarter of yesterday's game. 9 turnovers. I believe 5 of them came in the final 4 minutes. The Sixers went straight stupid in the final 4 minutes of that game. I was so frustrated. I took terrible notes. So I actually have to consult the play-by-play on ESPN. So here you go. Sixers score 107-98 after Tyrese Maxey hit a little bunny. That was at the 3:34 mark of the fourth quarter. De'Aaron Fox comes down to the very next possession. He gets a little floating jumper. There you go. All of a sudden, it's a 7-point game. Then Paul George has an errant pass that gets stolen. They go down the other end. That was the first of, this isn't going to go well. That was the first time I went, this isn't good. Now, keep in mind, the Sacramento Kings closed out the first half on a 20-6 run. So now the Sacramento Kings are trying to close out the second half, the game, on another big run. Well, they got their wish because, again, final score was 113-107. From the 3:09 mark, that began a 15-0 run. You have the bad pass from Paul George for a turnover. That goes down the other end. Gershon Yabusele gets up there, and he actually commits a shooting foul. So Malik Monk goes to the line. He makes both free throws. The Sixers go down the other end. And at the 2-minute mark now, with the game 107-102, 5-point edge for the Sixers, Paul George again goes straight stupid. Paul George does not know how much time's left on the shot clock. And instead of just hoisting up and forcing, and he would have had to force it, instead of forcing a shot at least, he kicks it out to Tyrese Maxey at the top of the key. And while the ball's in the air, traveling to Tyrese Maxey, the shot clock expires. Turnover goes the other way. Keon Ellis goes up there. He knocks down a 3. It's now a 2-point game. And this is, again, straight stupid. Sixers still have the lead, although it's only 2 points. There's a minute 27 left. Gershon Yabusele comes out on the offensive side of things, hoists a 3, missed it. Caleb Martin gets the rebound, kicks it out to Eric Gordon. He misses a 3. 2 seconds on the 14-second shot clock for the second chance point opportunity, ticked off the clock. You missed two threes in a 5-second span. When you have the lead, they don't work for a shot. They don't do nothing. Bad decision. It goes down the other end. Nothing happens. Then Tyrese Maxey comes dribbling up the court. The Sixers are still up 2 points with a minute left. Tyrese Maxey trying to dribble through 2 defenders as DeMar DeRozan comes up with Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin looked like he was trying to set a pick. He peels off the pick. DeMar DeRozan stays. Maxey tries to dribble through. He gets stripped, goes down the other end. We're now tied at 107 when DeMar DeRozan converted the layup. Sixers go down the other end. Tyrese Maxey tries to draw a foul to no avail. Ball becomes a turnover. That goes down the other end. Malik Monk's able to get the layup. It's now a 109-107 game. Gershon Yabusele later gets called for a goaltending. That was the goaltending play, excuse me. Sixers try to overturn it. It was obviously a goaltend. And then this sets up the inbounds play. I think this is the inbounds play. Yeah. Nothing. They get nothing out of it. It ends up being Paul George trying to dribble through the entire city of Sacramento, and he can't. And he turns it over, goes the other way, and it ends up being DeMar DeRozan free throws. He makes both of them 113-107, and that's the way it would end. After the game, Nick Nurse talked about how This was a they played well. They played really well until the end. Yeah, the Sixers played really well until they didn't. They also played really well until they didn't in the second quarter. Very frustrating, especially when you get a 30-point performance from Paul George, who also fouled out of the game last night. Fouls have been a huge issue for Paul George. He also went down really hard. I'll be curious to see whether or not he plays tonight. But in the second quarter of last night's game, he hit the ground pretty hard. He would come back. He got to 20 points at the 7:14 mark of the second quarter, and then just 10 the rest of the way. But yeah, at the end of that second quarter, the Sacramento Kings closed that out at 20-6 run. Max only had 6 points. He had 21 in the second half. That was good. Andre Drummond, 8 points, 6 rebounds in the first half. Eric Gordon, 11 points, 3 for 5 from 3 in the second quarter. And then nothing from him from 3 the rest of the way. Yeah. They were great until they weren't. They were great until they were terrible, is what ended up happening there. And the final, it was the worst loss of the season. To have a 9-point lead with about 3:30 left, and they blow it. And then to go back to the original point, as I said in the open, how do you not have Gershon Yabusele on Sabonis to start things off? Paul George? Paul George is a good defender, but he's going to get pushed around. And Sabonis was just always around the basket. And the only person that could move him off his spot, Andre Drummond, but they rarely matched up, and Gershon Yabusele. Doesn't make any damn sense to me. To Nick Nurse. Ugh. Thank you. Let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARZI, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARZI, get $20 off your first purchase. You can also take advantage of Game Time Picks, which allows you to filter out the fluff. Maybe your New Year's resolution is to go to more games. Download the Game Time app, use Game Time Picks on the Game Time app. Filter out all the fluff and see the best seats for the best prices on the Game Time app. So let's say you want to go to a concert or a comedy show. You can do that with the Game Time app, and you can save big bucks. Maybe you only want to go to a little bit of a basketball game or a little bit of a hockey game. Save big bucks, buy tickets an hour after the event, and you still get to quench that thirst for a sporting event or that concert or that comedy show. And the best part about doing it for the concerts and comedy shows is if you don't care about the opening act, if you don't care about the middle, and you just want to see the headliner that you love so much and you've always wanted to see, save mega huge Kajunga bucks when you download the Game Time app and buy tickets an hour after the event starts. Use promo code FARZI, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. And let's not forget the all-in pricing feature also that allows you to see exactly what you're paying before you check out. So there's no sticker shock on the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARZI, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. How about Sky Motor Cars? I'm man Brett over at Sky Motor Cars, SkyMotorCars.com. Check out Brett's amazing inventory at SkyMotorCars.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine first Farzi show of 2025. That's not a real number. That's not a real year. That's some movie in the future, 2025, when we have moving sidewalks and flying cars. There's a little Casey Kasem in there. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's see what you wonderful people are saying on this fine day. Larry Hawk. Hello. So why was Barkley playing last Sunday 34-7 in the fourth quarter? They wanted to... he could have gotten hurt versus the Cowboys, but was out there because they wanted 2,000 yards. That's why. Because they wanted 2,000 yards. And Lane Johnson talked about it after the game, like, yeah, we wanted 2,000, so we're good. And I don't doubt that when push came to shove, Nick Sirianni had real conversations with people. I don't doubt that happened, and I don't doubt that anything that Nick Sirianni said yesterday was anything but sincere. However, I think going into that game, they thought, okay, well, if we can get him 2,000, then we're good. Then we'll hang it up. Like, we all know the deal. But then the deal happened, and he went, all right, are we all on the same page still? Okay, cool. Sean Gillespie, good morning. Wine Niners Wine, what's going on? Jason A., hello. William Robinson, good morning, Farzi and Eagles fans everywhere. Hit that like button, people. Oh, thank you so much. Much appreciated. M. Reyes, what's going on? Happy New Year to you. Jesse, Happy New Year. Okay, Farzi showing everyone on YouTube. Have everyone on YouTube. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Very upset that Saquon isn't playing. Nick S. is an idiot. I love this. I love how people are on like totally different sides of this. B Village, thank you for that. I ultimately, would I be what would make me more upset? If Saquon got hurt or if they stop at 2,005 yards? If Saquon got hurt, that would make me more upset. What puts the Eagles in the best possible position to win a Super Bowl? Resting guys and guys being healthy. So if you can all but guarantee the key starters on your team will be healthy for postseason game number 1, then this puts them in a better position to be healthy for postseason game number 1. My only concern is still Jalen Hurts being in concussion protocol. What the hell? Anyway, Eagles had no choice but to keep Barkley on the sideline. Steven, I agree. If he played the second half versus the Giants first time, he would have had the If he played the second half versus the Giants first time, he would have had the record by the end of the last week. Yeah. Playing the fourth quarter. I know what you mean. JB, good morning, everyone. Farzi laying down the New Year rules. Happy New Year. You're welcome. He's still 30 carries short of Eric Dickerson when he set the record. Yes, fewer carries. I think you're right. I think he's about 30. I remember looking at that. I'm like, well, he wouldn't have 30 carries against the Giants for 100. April. Morning, April. Happy New Year. Would Dexter Lawrence lay down this week so Saquon can get the record? That's funny. Is Sexy actually playing? I don't think he's playing. As much as I'd love Saquon to play, I'm glad he'll be resting, especially since Jalen is still iffy. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Jason, I still wanted Barkley to do it. Less attempts. Don't get me started on the Hurts issue. Right? Let me say this. As far as week 1 of the postseason goes, I am far more concerned about Jalen Hurts than anything else. And it's not just health. Like, Jalen Hurts could, I don't know, next Monday, the story could be like, Jalen Hurts back in the building. Jalen Hurts looks great. Jalen Hurts feels fantastic. That could be the story. And I'll be like, yeah, okay. Remember against the Panthers when everyone was out of sync? And now he's played against the Steelers, and everything's great. And then he played 11 snaps against the Commanders. So now you're going to go 11 snaps against the Commanders one week. You're going to go not playing at all against the Dallas Cowboys, to not playing at all against the New York Giants, to then the playoffs. So that's 11 snaps in 3 weeks for a quarterback who only just recently got back on the same page as his receivers. I don't know what it's called. I don't even know if there is a name for it, but I'm going to be rooting for it. I'm going to be hoping for it. Like, I don't know if you were ever like whenever you played sports as a kid, or even or whatever in college, whatever. Did you ever like practice a lot and then you couldn't get out of this funk and you just, let's say you played basketball, and you just couldn't make a shot to save your life, and you're like, all right, let me take a break, and then you don't play for like a day or two, and then you come back to it, and all of a sudden you can't miss. Like, I don't know what that's called, if that's some kind of muscle memory or what, I don't know, but like rediscovered beginner's luck, I don't know. Like, that's what I'm going to be rooting for. Whatever that's called, if it's anything, I don't even know. That's what I'm going to be rooting for with Jalen Hurts in this passing game. Because literally, if Jalen Hurts was healthy enough, I would want him out there for a couple of snaps, a couple of things, just get in a rhythm. Get in a rhythm, baby. And then call it. Kind of concerning? Yeah, a little bit. QB, good morning, Sunshines. I did see your Happy New Year posted yesterday, so thank you very much. Sean Kilrain, back. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. B Village. Love the name. I'm completely disappointed with the Eagles franchise right now. They're doing a lot of stupid stuff. Jalen needs to suit up and play. And Saquon needs to break. I don't. But that's the thing. Jalen's not healthy. Jesse, Paul George had a big 3 quarters. Yeah, pretty much. Sixers threw that game. No other answer. What are they tanking again? They got the Warriors tonight. The last of the 10 o'clock start times. Do I look crazy? Do I have a weird look in my eyes? I'm not going to bed till like 2 in the morning. Saquon's family is upset. Yes, they were. Jonathan Harvey, good to see you. I think Eric Dickerson had a say in the decision. NFL is rigged anyway. Believe that. Eagles better get the NFC Championship game. Eagles better win the Super Bowl. Why are we settling for anything less? NBA 2 3-point addicted NBA is ridiculous. My grandma can suit up and play. Could she D up Domantas Sabonis? Jesse, Sixers always weird first few games after Embiid gets hurt. Yeah. Well, it's management. I did not see that, Sean. That's pretty incredible. Zach Bond is the only player in NFL history to have 150-plus tackles and 5 forced fumbles in a season. That's pretty damn good. Duncan Wright, welcome to the party, pal. JB, I really want to like Sirianni, but come on, man. I like Sirianni. I do. I do like Nick Sirianni. Linda Gunkel, what's up, Linda? Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Football players, it is noted, don't play the game concerned about injury. They just play, and Barkley deserved to play. Matter or not, injury to a key player can occur getting out of the shower. I agree with you. But how many of those have happened in the course of this year? Jalen's not available. Slip getting out of the shower. Jalen's not available. Severe stub toe, something like that. The most dangerous thing these guys do through the week is play a football game. So if you can avoid that, they're going to avoid it. Fisher, so what if you get knocked out of the playoffs and no record? It's crazy. Look, I wanted him to play, so I get it. I'm not enraged because I'm not surprised. As I told you, and I've done this before with many other things, my desire did not match my prediction. Like, what I want is not what's going to happen. I came to terms with that. Ooh. I don't think Eric Dickerson is influencing the Eagles' decision a little bit. Eagles complied to Eric Dickerson, Mr. Salty. That's funny. QB, hello again. I'm disappointed. I want Saquon to go for it. He's too close not to. Also, notice how Sirianni and Saquon kept saying probably won't play. Like, I would love to see one quick handoff, goes for 101 yards, and that's that. The first 101-yard run in NFL history. He ain't playing. Scattaboo. That was a lot of fun. It was like the kid just refused to lose until they lost. He even willed that field goal to clank off the post. Nuclear taco? I'll have one. We need a bye week for the playoffs. Plain and simple. Super Bowl comes before anything else. There you go. Brian, what's up, Brian? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. He beat Shady's record, and he's in the 2000 class. I'm happy about it. There you go. Drew, I had the same thought. No, nobody. 2,000-yard rushers. Jamal Lewis did win a Super Bowl, but not when he ran for 2,000 yards. No praise for personal records. I agree. Ryan, I don't want to be negative, but him playing one on Sunday doesn't guarantee him getting the record. Like the Giants might show up and not allow it. Then what? He said the same thing in his locker yesterday. The Giants, if Saquon plays, the Giants know exactly what's going on. And they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that he can't get out there. Plus, if Saquon plays, then yes, most of your offensive line is going to play in that game. God forbid something happen to them. Yeah. Jonathan Harvey, I want the Commanders. Bring on the Commanders. JJ, I like Super Bowl revenge against the Chiefs. Yes, please. Jason A. like a meatball. Oh, we need fans. That makes sense. Okay, so here's how it goes. I'll be Sirianni. Fangio will be Saquon Barkley. Hey Saquon. Hey, but hey. I don't know why that was my Nick Sirianni impression, but anyway, you're not playing. Ugh. Thank you. I tried to do the Sirianni right. What are you playing right? That's Sirianni. T-Bro, what's going on? 2024 ended with bottle of Buffalo Trace and me buying a Q jersey, a DeJean jersey, and a Jalen Carter jersey. That Buffalo Trace hit nice. A lot of what-if scenarios playing out here. Joanne Lewis, please stand as a team together and say, Coach, we are the Eagles and we soar together. Let us all do this. Please don't break our wings. We want to fly. I'm envisioning like Rudy when they fictitiously put their jerseys on the desk in front of the coach and they're like, hey, this is for Rudy. This is for Saquon. You're welcome, Jason. I'm glad you like it. I love it too. Stop being so negative. Accidents can happen anytime. You cannot stop fate. Yeah, I agree. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. 76ers right back at it tonight for another 10 o'clock tip-off. As I told you last time we did a show, which I don't even know what day it is now, but the last time we did a show, I told you that you're not going to have Joel Embiid play back-to-back games. So he's not playing against the Kings. He'll play against the Warriors. So they talk about knee management and I think a foot issue with Joel Embiid. So he didn't play last night. Now, Paul George, who did play, but we'll see how he responds 24 hours later after going down hard in the second quarter and then getting a heating pad on his back. Paul George, we'll see if he's up and able to play tonight against the Warriors for a 10 o'clock tip-off. The Golden Knights host your Philadelphia Flyers tonight, also at 10 o'clock. Golden Knights 25-9-3 on the season. Flyers 17-17 and 4 on the season. Flyers, though, how about this? They're coming off a nice little victory over the Sharks, 4-0. Not too bad. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Oh, Mullet Alvarado. What's happening? Forget about it, man. Good to see you. How are you? I like that your New Year's resolution is to catch the show more. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Thanks, everyone who watched. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Seth Joinery Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel as well. Featuring all me. There you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be back with you guys tonight on Locked On Sports Philadelphia / tomorrow morning after the Sixers hopefully beat the 500 Golden State Warriors. See you guys then. Have a great rest of your day. And yes, one more time, Happy New Year. Bye.